Good everyone, Organized Video, and today we have a review on the Re-2001 Gruppo 22. Again, another mouthful. They seem to like giving these premium aircraft a lot of names, like different designations and stuff. But hey, go and ask for it all, can you? And as you can tell in the lineup below, I'm comparing this thing again. This is what I'm going to be doing for these copy-paste premiums, and I think it's kind of important to do so. This is the last copy-paste premium that we have to do. And yeah, this one is not impressive at all. Now, sure, if it's down tiered, as you're going to see in this match, it's very capable. But there's a catch. A big catch. As you can see below, I've put up two aircraft which I think are far better than this thing. So now we're going to get into the favourite question. Do I think this aircraft is worth 1,000 Golden Eagles? You're having a laugh, right? No. Just no. Do what I did and got it and get it in the bloody starter pack at half price when they've got a sale on. That's what I did. I got all these up through Christmas. That's why I have vehicles like the M1441 Premium, the with the longer 47mm. I have the B1 Tur. I have the Crusader the Saint, and I have the Chihi or the Chihi 5th Regiment. Those I only got because they were, what, £2 a pop? And I want my £2 back for this aircraft. Let's put it that way. Now, sure, someone's probably going to go look at my player card and be like, Joe, you've done amazing. Why the hell are you dissing this thing? It seems very capable in your hands. Yeah, but look at the BR 2.3. That's like saying a B-18B is capable in anyone's hands. And it just, yeah, it is. But then you would try and say something like, I don't know, is an FW200 capable in anyone's hands? And the answer is no, the Condor can't do anything. This thing has got Condor syndrome. Once it gets any form of aircraft that can get to it easily and keep up with it, it's screwed. So let's go into detail of why this thing is quite bad. Well, first of all, let's do the comparison. So what have I got lined up for us today? Well, I have the IAR 81C and the Spitfire Mark 5B Tropical, aka the Pacifier. So the Ori 2001 has maneuverability comparable to the Spitfire. I've even outturned Spitfires in this thing. It's very capable of doing that. But there's one problem with this. Well, in fact, there's quite a few problems with this aircraft. Number one, its armament. And number two, its overheating. This thing loves to boil itself. It overheats constantly. As you'll hear in this match, I have to constantly throttle back, cool down the engine, and I have to be very careful with it. Not even on cold maps you can do this. As a result, it really limits the capability of this aircraft if you cannot use the full power of the engine that you have, and we'll go into the engine very shortly. As a result, having to babysit this thing with its overheating problems is very annoying and quite tedious, to say the least. Now, sure, the Spitfire's no angel either, but the Spitfire's a lot more manageable than the Euro 2001. And you get cannon. I think I know what I'm taking instead. And then we look at the IAR. Sure, it's not as maneuverable. Sure, its climb rate sucks. And sure, it doesn't have as much horsepower as the Euro 2001 or the Spitfire. But look at the ordnance. Two rockets, a 250 kilogram bomb, MG 151s, and two 7.92 FN Brownings. Yeah, these guns hit a lot harder than the Euro 2001s do. Now, sure, as I mentioned earlier, in a down tier, this thing is very capable, as you're going to see later. But this thing is also very fragile, which we're going to go over shortly. So let's go over the guns. So we have two 50 caliber 12.7mm braided Safat machine guns with 350 rounds each. These are okay. They're not the best machine guns, but they're okay. They certainly work. It's when we get into the armament that I would consider dead weight. The 7.7 Breda Safat machine gun. In real life, it was actually quite common for MC-202 pilots to actually strip these out because they were dead weight. There was honestly no point in having them. They just packed so little punch. And that applies in game. Having 600 rounds for each gun, you might as well just do what I do and put them as stealth, because you honestly aren't going to notice any increase in damage. For the 12.7s, I run Tracer. Recommended gun conversions, I'd actually suggest 400 meters because of these crappy 7.7s. Now, of course, compared to the other premiums, this is in the same situation as the Spitfire. It doesn't have any ordnance. As you can tell, the Spitfire doesn't, but the IAR has a wide range, as we can tell here. If you want a more in-depth review of I believe I've done a review on the Spitfire, and I have done a review on the IAR quite recently. Please do go check this out if you do need a bit more information about these aircraft, if you are considering purchasing them. But of course, we're here to discuss this today. And like I say, even though the Spitfire is a bit more expensive at 1300 Golden Eagles, I just don't see the point in buying this thing at full price. If you really want to add this thing to your collection, do what I did and buy them in the starter packs that you get for Italy at half price during the Christmas sale and also the November sale. That would save you a lot of cash and also save you a lot of Golden Eagles. Because personally, I rate the Gruppo 22 under the IAR. And finally, let's go over the engine. And as you can tell, it's quite cramped in there, isn't it? Where the engine sits, isn't it? Yeah, that's bad, and I'll explain why. We've got just about 12 or 1160 horsepower on WEP and 1030 on 100%. You're going to be doing less than that. You're probably going to have the region of about 900 horsepower most of the time, and that's not a lot. Now, why is this aircraft so poor at cooling itself down? To be brutally honest, I actually don't know. It's got perfectly adequate radiators. I mean, it's got one here, it's got an intake there, and it's got another one here. This thing should be perfectly capable of cooling itself down. But it doesn't. It overheats the moment you give it the chance to. And to say this is meant to be in a starter pack with new players, I don't see the point. At least with the Kai 44, that thing's got the performance that a new player can put to the test. Yes, it doesn't have any ordnance, but it still works. The Spitfire, yeah, I'd put it in the same region as the Aero 2001, purely because it should not be a starter premium aircraft. But even then, it's a Spitfire. It's got better guns than this thing does. But anyway, I've been wailing on this aircraft way too hard, I think. So let's actually get into the battle and I can show you what this thing can do, because it is very capable. But it's a catch-22 situation. You have to be down-tiered for it to work. And for an aircraft to be down-tiered in order to work, I'm sorry, but I can't. I physically can't suggest this for someone to purchase. And it's just such a shame because like it's a nice plane. I like the look of it. It's a nice looking aircraft. But then it just goes and ruins itself because its radiator and cooling systems are horrible. Anyway, so this is a 13-minute match, almost 14-minute match. I'm going to put it to 4 times speed just to speed it up a bit. In terms of climb, this thing climbs pretty alright. It's a shame it's not a C... Is it the CB model? That's the ground pounding one? The CN can carry a bomb as well, but I think it's the CB. I wish this thing would have been a CB model. That would have given me more reason to give it a positive review. Now sure, it'd still have the same problems, but that ground strike capability for a low tier player would be perfect. But it doesn't. This is based off the Series 1. And as a result, that doesn't help it. So here up ahead we have one of my favourite premiums, Palia's D510. Now of course, that thing I do have a review for, so please do go check that out if you haven't already. But I like that thing. But again, you have to be paying attention for that thing to work. Kill number 1. And as you can tell, my team is getting its arse kicked. The enemy team has quite a few P400s, Hurricanes and Hawks. This is going to get messy. So I'm coming in behind the Hurricane. I pour on the damage, but yeah. Controls there you saw locking up. That only does that at about 350 miles an hour. It doesn't tend to have that many control problems. Now here's where I make a mistake, and I'd like to point it out. Now, I was about to grab a drink, but then I realised where I was and I wanted to point this out. As you can see to the left, you can see a P400. I underestimated him. I didn't think he had the capability of lining up a shot, but he did. And as you notice, one burst from his guns, and my tail shot the hell. Now sure, he has a 20mm, but even so, the 20mm on the P400 isn't amazing. Sure, it works, but it isn't amazing. And did you hear a minute ago? I had to throttle back. This thing's already overheating. Now of course, in a maneuvering fight, the P400 ain't gonna win. No chance. And there we go. Kill number 2. And now it's a 3 versus 1. 2 dive bombers and a Hawk versus me. And there's my oil and water. I don't have a lot of time. Kill number 3. And here comes a V156. Coming to join the party. I've managed to turn this 3 versus 1 into a 2 versus... well, it might as well be 1 versus 1 because the Hawk's engine's failed. He tries to get on his back gunner, but I know exactly where to go. And there we go. Kill number 4. I make sure the Hawk goes down, put a couple of 7.7s to guarantee the kill. And there we go, ace in a day. Kill number 5. As I said, if you get down tiered and you're careful with this thing, it really does kick some ass. But now we're running into a problem. As you can tell, the aircraft is spraying so poorly. As I mentioned, the cooling systems can't take any sort of hit, the oil systems can't take any sort of hit. But luckily this P400 is so focused on ground pounding, he doesn't notice me. And down he goes, kill number 6. But at this point, the engine is already starting to die. I was actually quite worried if I was going to make it back to base or not. Thankfully, I ended up doing so. Albeit barely. So to save you a couple of minutes, I'm gonna jump us ahead. Now the only aircraft that are left on the enemy team are a F-2222, an SBD, and a Hurricane that I damaged earlier. The Hurricane is gonna crash, the SBD is gonna be the last guy, and thankfully, I think it was the 217 managed to kill the, what was it, the F-2222. And this just leaves the Dauntless. So I fire a good burst, get out of the way, but my teammate in the Ju-87 is not paying any sort of attention, and he only just survives that. But a pour on the paint, set the Dauntless on fire, and that is the Dauntless down and kill number 7. And that's the end of that. So like I say, I'm not saying this aircraft is bad. It's just got a lot of flaws, and it is very capable at doing its job as an air superiority fighter. But it needs more, you know? It needs those radiators fixed, and it needs something to just help it. Even if they remodel it into a CB, that would really give this thing a help. Because it needs something to make it better than the other copy-paste premiums that would warrant a purchase. But at the moment, I just don't see the point in purchasing this thing. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Re-2001 Gruppo 22, and I will catch you all on the next one.